It is Feedback Friday and we are solidly into November, which means we're about a month left and you're on the home stretch, and so many of you are working so hard on your team presentations, and I'm so proud. Some of you have worked through difficult things and interpersonal dynamics, and that is the goal, is for you to have some conflict, have some struggle, develop some flexibility, adaptability, and a little bit of grit. I want to tell you about a principle that business theorists talk about. It's called the Pareto principle, and it's that 20% do 80% of the work. So in most companies, you'll find a lot of times 20% of people are doing 80% of the work. This happens in organizations. In nonprofits that I studied, we found that 20% of people were carrying 80% of the financial burden. But what I'm seeing in your teams is that's not the case, and you're dividing it up. So those of you that feel like you're carrying a lot, be encouraged. You're going to be successful. And I want to encourage you to develop some flexibility, adaptability. The goal is that you would want people to work with you. And so the more grace you're willing to give, sometimes the more grace that will come back to you. So questions that came this week really were about the teams, and the big one is really a hard one, and it only applies to a few people, but we have those statistical outliers, and that is, what if someone's not responding? So if you've given them grace and you've communicated and you've said, hey, we want to work with you, but here's where we're at. If you can't say, here's a specific task we'd like you to finish that you can do on your own, because maybe you have a lot going on, always assume people are doing the best they can with the resources they've been given. And if they're not, then my advice, and I've emailed some of you and said, just move on. It's time. You've done the best you can do. There will be times to move on. And again, this is just a few of you, not everyone, but if someone is struggling, just move on. If your team is saying, listen, we are working together, but it's taking a little bit, we may need an extra day or two to coordinate our time, because we've got to jump onto Launchpad. There's a group session recording option. So when you go into it, you say, hey, this is the time slot we're coming on. One person can pull up the PowerPoint, or everyone can have the PowerPoint, as long as everyone knows what slide you're on. And then, but I would encourage you, have one person have the PowerPoint, let them kind of run the slides, and then everybody takes a little bit of time to present. You can always default to the YouTube option where you record independently, you put them together, you post it on YouTube. Then in Launchpad, you'll post a link saying, here's our team, and here's our people, and here's our video. So those are the concerns, questions that came in this week. I want to take you across campus to the Fine Arts Building to tell you about an extra credit opportunity and something that is really, really special to me. It's the one event that I started, host, run, and it's just my favorite way to connect with students. Okay, I just walked into Building 15, the Fine Arts Theater here at South Campus, and I'm right outside the Black Box Theater. It's a really cool room. It's black, there's a stage and some pretty neat lighting. And every semester I host an event called the Story Slam. So it's real students telling real stories from their real life. And this year's theme is included. Students are going to tell a story about a time they felt like they fit in, or they didn't. Or maybe they did and they didn't want to. And if you have a story to tell, please email me and say, I'd like to make this story line up. I have about 2 spots left for student storytellers. I'll send you all the information. The details are in the flyer that I've posted in the announcement. If you come, make sure you sign in and get extra credit. Meet me, we'll have snacks, and I promise it will be an event you won't want to miss.